Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Easy Rollers. We are live.
Ooh, this is rare.
Yes, Gilded Branch is Logan. He's got the dreaded lurgy. He's not very well at the moment, so let's all wish him well, and hopefully he recovers fairly soon. So he's in the background running the stream, but he's not going to be playing tonight, unfortunately. Bit of a different format. We're going to be playing shortly with the recap and such. Obviously, a bit of a blunder last time. If you watched us live, then you obviously know what happened. If you didn't, you would have missed it because obviously there wasn't a podcast, there wasn't a YouTube catch up. We forgot to press record, so sorry about that. But never mind. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A. It's been a bit hit and miss, hasn't it? Anyway, the last few months with internet problems for Steve. So we're gonna do a bit of a Q&A. So I've got some questions for the guys. They've got some questions for me. Get to know a bit more about the characters, perhaps about the campaign in a bit more depth, and then we're going to go into the recap. And I think it's going to be a bit of a joint effort on the recap. So if I've missed anything, they're going to sort of fill in some gaps. Because I was running the stream last time, and it's turns out it's quite difficult to run a stream and DM a game. It's quite distracting. So my memory is a bit patchy of what happened. So let's go straight into the Q&A, shall we? Let's find my questions for you guys. We won't do Logan's because obviously he's not going to really be able to answer us. Let's start off with Volta. Volta, you're a very colourful character and absolutely a man of mystery. What do you think motivates Volta aside from finding his family?
Nothing. In fact, finding his family is the driving force behind his entire soul. At the moment, if that were removed, who knows what would take its place?
So he's definitely channeling Harrison Ford through a lot of non-Star Wars related movies where he's always after his family. He's looking for his family.
That's the fella, yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone in chat
if anyone in chat wants to ask any questions as well, please feel free. Can you tell us a bit about your choices that led to the creation of Volta and why the Demonic Pact, for example?
Why the Demonic Pact is a pretty easy one to answer. It's the only warlock thing I had access to via the player's handbook and the basic rule book. So the Demonic Pact was the thing I had to choose. So that shaped the story of Volta because he had to have a reason for turning demonic. Had to have some sort of dark sort of past that would drive that. Obviously, your world was a little bit dark in its way anyway, so that sort of fitted in with the storyline. But yeah, essentially, it was what was available on D&D Beyond as a freebie.
Awesome. Okay. And if he could have anything, what would it be?
Oh, I think a few extra spell slots would be lovely. Because he doesn't have many of them. No, if he could have anything, obviously he'd have his family returned to him because the sort of driving force, his whole raison d'etre is saving his family from the trouble that he knows that they're in. If he could have anything and have a second thing, he would probably bring down the nobility and launch a new wave of enlightenment and loveliness across the world while still being a little bit demonic. So he's a slightly confused character.
I was going to say that does sound a bit confusing.
Well, I'm playing in that way. He has got that little bit of light left to his soul, but he's also got this growing shadow over what's left of it, I guess.
So, next question was: does Walford have any plans for after his family is found?
That kind of depends on what happens after his family is found and the sort of events that unfold around that. Because obviously, his plan is to rescue his family and to put them in a safe place and end the threat to them. But you don't know how these things work out, so I guess he's going to have to plan on the hoof as much as possible. But yeah, it's secure his family, put them in a safe place, and remove any threat from ever threatening them again.
Cool. And final question was: how would you like things to progress for Walford?
Obviously, it'd be nice to rescue his family and do all that, but that's not within Volta's control. So again, it depends. See, don't really know where he's going until we know what goes on with the story. That's
Yeah.
where he's at. He's at this finely balanced point where the future's unknown to him. He just knows he's aiming at this. That's what he'd like to be able to do. But on either side of this is a sheer drop to pretty dark spaces and pretty dark acts, I would imagine. So the future is very undecided as far as Volta's concerned.
Cool. So that's great. We're going to go over to Captain Downface with Kanan. So your questions, and again, if anyone in chat wants to ask questions, please jump in. While creating Kanan, how did you feel about the mashing up of a few elements to create this vision-like character?
It was. I think the most fun part of that was sort of the peeking behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You sort of knew certain bits were coming, and the most fun that came from that was seeing the other guys' reactions to when they happened. So it was fun to see how, sort of how it all came to be, but then in terms of actually creating Keenan, he's very much a sort of a homebrew thing. So it was all about balancing and finding the right balance between powerful enough to sort of hold his own without being too OP. And monks, I think in particular, anyway, are a different kind of powerful than something that just does a lot of damage. So yeah, that was fun.
Cool. I mean, he's got a range of pretty cool abilities. So, which of those do you like, and what would you like to have to enhance his abilities, if anything?
I like the whole floating thing, and the sort of charismatic radius aura that comes around him when that happens. I think that one time I used it to intimidate. I can't remember who we were intimidating at the time, but we were all just like growing into our different forms and everything. That was pretty cool.
I think that was the bullywugs, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. What would I like to have? I don't know.
Obviously, we've
In terms of being more vision-like, then the whole intangibility thing could be cool, but I don't know.
I mean, we had that discussion about that little thing I've been creating.
Yes.
Which I thought was quite cool. But what did you think about Pelor's possible view of a future where Kanan appears to plunge into the planet, ending his own life and stopping the evil plaguing the world finally?
I didn't really appreciate the implications of what was happening during that. Just sort of plunging into the world. I didn't consider that might be a life ending event. So so that's quite yeah, that's quite a lot of pressure.
Well, I mean, it was only a possible future.
Yes.
Because the future's obviously always changing. Let's see, what else do we have on there for you? Did you enjoy the story leading up to the evolution of HK into Keenan?
Yeah, I think this is what I touched on in the first one, actually.
Yeah. Because that was quite a big cliffhanger, that wasn't it? When
yeah, well, I mean, from the very start of when we started streaming back in episode 1, that's when things were starting, because I immediately had 10 less feet of movement, and I started shutting down slowly from that point. And I think it didn't become apparent for 2 or 3 episodes that there was something a bit off.
It took a while.
Yeah, I think there was one time when everyone was on a carriage or horses or something, and because I couldn't get exhausted, I was just sprinting the whole way. And then when we got back, it turned out that I'd just knackered my core even more by doing that, so I lost even more movement.
I don't think it twigged really, did it? I think that's when we had a private chat and was just like, "Now let's ramp it up a little bit and
Yeah.
push it." Cool. Okay, let's go across to Lily. So your questions. As the newest member of the group, how did you find it fitting in with the other players? Which is something a lot of people probably find quite intimidating if they're joining a established group.
It was really straightforward with you guys. Like, I knew Dan from before, and we had played again. But the moment I joined you, it was as if I knew you, and I think our chemistry was really good straight away. I didn't feel as if I was new to the group. I felt as if I was a part of the group straight away.
Cool. Okay. I suppose it's easier when you've got, the media out there where you can sort of listen along or watch along. So you kind of like, it's easier to probably integrate in with that.
But also, you made me feel very welcome. From the first day, I didn't feel as if I was coming in a part of an already formed group. That it was difficult for me to come and join
Yeah.
you guys. You just made it very easy for me.
Cool. Okay. Well, I don't know that everyone's particularly aware of Lily's background. So did you want to fill everyone in a bit with who Lily is, really?
Yeah, she's a fairly young elf. She's a high elf, and she comes from the city of Ilandalus. She comes from a noble family, and she's like a kind of the black sheep of the family because her father was an advisor of the king, and her mother is a priestess of I forgot of Melora,
Hmm.
and it was like a follow up. Like it was obvious to her family that she will become also a priestess, like her sister. All the family traditions, but she was always a bit unique as a child. She was always a little bit, always going out to play with nature. She was just running away from her nanny, and she was going with her friends to the fields and play with animals, and so she was kind of chaotic and a bit cheeky as a child. So when she decided to um, study with one of a very famous druid of the area, Merlin, her family did not take it really well because it wasn't what they were expecting. But with the recent events and after Ilandal was destroyed, and we had to start a new life. Her skills helped to the family to adapt in a less noble life, more like in the woods life. And now that the king has sent her to help, to take part of this rescue group, they kind secretly feel a bit proud of her. But yeah, she still remains the black sheep of the family, and they are not very happy with her sometimes. You can see when you talk to her, you can see that there is a lot of chaos in her mind, but at the same time, you can see her noble background because even though she is really, childish and uh, repulsive. Not when you do things impulsive. Is it impulsive?
Hmm. Yeah.
When you do things that you don't think. Um, Even though she does these things, she still has. You can see that she still has like a superiority against other races, other people. She doesn't do it on purpose, but it's just it comes up to her like that
Yeah.
without being rude or anything. You see that this is her upbringing. But yeah, she's a bit greedy. She likes wealth. She likes power. She doesn't care about good or bad. She just wants to earn as much as she can.
Okay. Bit of a power player, a power character. um, for anyone joining us recently, we are just doing a bit of a Q&A to catch up with or the lost episode, as Corbs called it, due to the hiccup with recording last episode. Of course, if you were able to watch us live, then you'll know what happened. But just for those who didn't, we're just going over a few things. So, what else was there for you? What do you think? Well, you probably answered it a little bit in that last one, but how do you think Lily feels about being dropped into going from probably honing some skills and sort of just doing odd jobs here and there to being dropped into the middle of this kind of war of involving demons and gods and such alike?
Yeah, well, she apparently she loves it because this is why she wanted to become an adventurer and do something different with her life. She really enjoys it. She has all this youth and hunger for new experiences, and as I said before, power and all these things. Uh, but at the same time, she does feel annoyed with herself because she's still not very mature and she's not a very experienced druid. So sometimes she finds things difficult, like for example with the last wish spell that she did, and she got really upset with herself because she could have studied more to learn more about it and understand it better so she can help more on the situation. But yeah, she still learns.
And your final one was, what do you think, if anything, Lily would wish for if she had a choice, or what would you like to give Lily if you could?
A golden dragon. the she wants power, she wants wealth, she wants to be famous, but at the same time she wants to be like free to enjoy these things. She likes being an adventurer. She's a power hungry character, but at the same time she doesn't like anybody to control her, so she wants to enjoy life as much as she can.
Hmm. Okay, cool. So that's a bit about each of the characters. Obviously, we haven't done Logan's. Steve is under the weather. So questions for the group as a whole. So jump in and answer these as you want to. And for anyone new to watching or just joined us, please do feel free to ask any questions of the group. How on a whole is everyone enjoying the campaign?
I quite enjoy it very much. Um, I find our interactions really funny, and it is really interesting. And I like the way it is progressing.
I mean, you wouldn't really be here if you weren't enjoying it, would you, to be honest?
It's certainly taken a few different turns than I was expecting at various points.
Oh, yeah.
Before we started streaming, we went from a dank underdark cave, and suddenly we were on Asgard talking to Thor.
That was quite seat of the pants sort of stuff for me, though. I mean, yeah, I know you were trying to escape the Underdark, and there was that pool there, which kind of just led down the rabbit hole, didn't it? Really, and
Yeah,
I
I didn't see it coming for sure.
Well, it was like, how do I get you back from being like in these weird other planes of existence? That's like it's gonna have to be because I think someone I don't know who it was. Someone literally did say, "Let's go to Asgard," and I was like, oh, "Shit."
They know.
I was like, "How do I get out of this?" Which is a question most DMs have asked themselves at some point. How do I get myself out of this? It made sense to have the Bifrost to return you back to your own plane of existence.
I think part of the story arc was you've got to go and try and track down Thor at Asgard or replace the Mjolnir type hammer or something. Can't remember now because it was a little while ago. But there was certainly something that drove us to there that was in the story. I don't think it was just a random picnic decision. I think
No, there was something. I think there was some sort of a weapon. There was a weapon mentioned somewhere out in astral space that could probably. It was like a god killing weapon or something like that. I was dropping hints that you needed to go and do stuff. I think, but I can't remember.
We
It's
even
all
pick
in the...
up on some of the hints now and again.
I know, yeah, sometimes. So the next one was, is there anything as we progress you would like to see more or less of? I know this. So, for example, there's things which I have decided over time, like, I just want to kind of like skip over stuff. You might notice some of the later episodes, perhaps rather than role play everything, it's just like, right, who wants to go shopping? What do you want? Let's just do it. Take some money off your sheet and job done. Because we don't need to spend 2 hours talking to Joe Blogs about his.
It's about
lovely
balance,
collection.
really, isn't it? Because even too much of the best thing can just get samey. But at the same time, some of our most memorable role plays have come from shopping episodes.
Oh yeah,
Or sacrificing
quite
the
funny.
horse.
In the Lost episode, there was an element of roleplay that no one will ever get to see. So it was quite
Yeah.
fun to do it.
it was. It was.
Time. It
Um,
would have been quite useful to have it out there, but it's forever lost into the void, and ha 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 ha, no one will ever know what went on.
I know, it's such a shame. I'm really gutted about that. I was so annoyed that next morning I was like, right, let's get this episode sorted. Where is it? I was on the phone, Steve, where is the episode? He went, oh, well, it should have recorded. I was like, no, it didn't. We went through the settings and then he goes, that should be checked for auto recording. I went, well, it's not checked and you didn't say so. So, unfortunately, yeah. It was very much sort of last minute stuff though, wasn't it? We weren't really expecting to have to do that, but hey ho, we managed to get together and play a game, so that was something.
That was it. We got to have the RP session, which was quite good fun.
You got to have the RP session, and that was actually another thing. I don't think we really spoke about it much, but for Lily, she was trying to use healing magic to recover Lord Taylor from his mortal wounds. Do you know, I didn't want to allow it purely because he was so far gone already. He was pretty much on death's door. I know healing magic would have brought him back, but for the story point, it's like he has to die. He couldn't survive that. He had to. It was like it had to be something that even magic just couldn't. And perhaps there was something there that was missed. I'm not going to give too much away. Perhaps you missed something. It just wasn't a magical means that could fix him like that. Because he had his wizards with him who could potentially have healed him. But yeah, not to try and steamroller and say no, you definitely can't do that. But it was a story point. There was a reason for it. So, bit of a recap-y sort of question. The question was, in your minds, what do you think about the last session's revelation? Maybe we'll save that until the end because that can sort of quite nicely go into the recap. And again, question 4 is pretty much the same. We had the recording error. Would you like to talk about that? Yes, we'll do that. So I'll skip over 2 questions. We'll come back to those in a moment. How do you guys hope Vaybaba ends? Like, what do you... With everything that's going on, everything that's gone on, how do you sort of anticipate the campaign might go from here? On me.
Maybe being able to take Landalus back and sort the lives of the elves and give them their home and remove the demons from our plane.
Well,
And
let's
of,
not go too far. I mean, the demons are doing all right. They're not that bad.
yeah, but also, and of course, power and fame for us as the people who will succeed that.
I think killing Grift and seeing how long it'll take Logan to pick up the cursed sword will be an amusing side point.
Oh wait, now he has somebody else that might challenging him for that. Because if it is shiny, she will like it too.
Well, if it's shiny and Lily wants it, I can absolutely guarantee you won't be playing Lily for much longer.
That's okay. This is here.
We saw how that ended in the first ever episode.
Yeah.
I feel like we're reasonably close in terms of story, but you know how we are at dragging things out like that. But
Yeah, there's
Probably like, if you think about it, they'll be getting to Atlanta Lost, taking it, and then the final showdown, and that's potentially it.
well, yeah. I mean, we are getting close to the story's end. And Lancelot would be kind of like, as you say, the big showdown, but doesn't necessarily mean it's the end.
Well,
Doesn't
unless
necessarily mean it's the end. And there's a lot of other content as well that needs to be done in between. You know, as we know you've got to go and arrange transport and stuff. So
Yeah,
there's a
you
lot
could
of
go back to
faffing about going on there.
Can't we
go back
just
to
not
New
book a lot of
Waterhold.
Ubers? Is it-
but also we might find ourselves outside of Ilandalos ready to attack and with the army and everything, and suddenly we're being banished in another plane, and then we start plane shifting. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Anything could happen.
Or go
Anything
back
could
to
happen.
New Waterhold and fight all the vampires and say hi to Styx.
Yeah. Add sticks and resurrect him.
Steve's asked, or Gilded Branch has asked me on the chat, how did I enjoy streaming the game myself last time? It was fun, but it was stressful, and it caused me to forget an awful lot of things that had actually gone on in the game because I was too busy faffing around with the computer. So I definitely think it is a job for someone to be doing other than myself. Not because of my technological incompetence, but because you got enough to worry about with actually DMing anyway. So it's not something for that. So the other two questions were, but we'll bear these in mind, and we'll sort of, if you want to jump in with the recap. In your minds, what do you think about the last session's revelations? And so by that I mean, when Lord Taylor said the city will be left to you to do what you need to do with it, rule it or pass it on to someone else, for example. And as we had the recording error, would you like to talk about the episode for anyone who didn't see it, to go towards the recap for episode 22? But bear those two in mind, and we'll cover those perhaps at the end of the recap. Did you guys want to ask me anything before we go into the recap? Ooh,
We
hello.
might have had one or two little questions.
We had a couple of bits, yeah.
Who wants to go first? Mwah.
What have we
Sorry.
got? I don't think I came up with any, so I'll just be stealing yours.
Oh, steal away, dear boy, steal away. Oh, that's the first one. So characters are fragile, some more than others. Mr. Branch. How do you balance writing ahead and planning storylines for characters that might not survive the night?
Well, I never try and kill you, as I've said. But it does happen, and if it does happen, then we just adapt. And it is literally as a case, I'll just adapt. But I don't try and set the encounters up to kill people. I would like them to be challenging. And this is the first long-running campaign I've ever done. I've always done one-shots. This is the first great big campaign. So as we're going through into higher levels, we're in territory that I've never even been in before. So we're trying to populate the encounters with things which will be challenging to you, but maybe not too hard. I don't want it to kill you, but I want it to challenge you. And I've sort of thrown in little testers here and there to see, with your current abilities, what can be done. So that whole dream state of HK Keenan, where you were trying to sort of rescue him from the Tempest dream, I chucked in some really hardcore stuff into that. And I didn't play it to its full potential. So I thought, all right, let's see what can be done. So when we had the Black Dragon in the swamp, again, that was an ancient Black Dragon that was still kind of outside of your wheelhouse. But by not playing it to its full potential and knowing you guys have got some decent gear, you were able to beat it. So, in all adapting things, or I always keep this part of the story quite fluid anyway. So the start was always set, and the finish is, I know where it's going to end, but it always changes depending on what you guys do anyway. So I think the flexibility and fluidity are the keys. And to anyone who is running their own campaigns, homebrew, it's a bit different when it's published, but
It
Yeah,
depends on the group as to whether it's different when it's published.
exactly.
It goes from
Yeah.
fairly fun directions, even if it's published.
It's a difficult one to answer because I don't plan to kill anyone. If it happens, it happens. We'll just adapt. But yeah, it's just week on week. I tend to have about 2 or 3 story arcs or lines written, and then I just adapt those week on week, and branch off in new ways or converge them to make it more interesting or something like that. Minor Vagabond has said, was Vaybaba something you pre-designed, or has it just been a natural evolution of an idea you had? No, it was pre-designed. The ending was preordained, and then the beginning was, and I said the middle has kind of just been fluid. There was always ideas of where it might go. Obviously, when I came up with the idea, I kind of had a story in mind, and then crafted the world to suit the story, and then I populated it with cities and who are the key people in those cities, what are the political factors that shape and influence how people interact with each other, etc., etc., etc. So it does naturally evolve, however, as the game goes on, because the players interact with things and can change political views and change, the landscape. So bit of a pre-designed, but also bit of natural evolution. I don't plan to kill anyone, but if I do, it's a bonus. Sort of. It's always fun to have to deal with that, I suppose. But any other guy, anything else you guys wanted to pose as a question?
Mine is very similar to Steve's. It's just I was wondering, one day you have made your story, we come up and we decide to disregard completely your story and decide to go somewhere else. What are you going to do? Are you going to just go with it or stop the
You've done
game?
that so many times.
Oh,
You've
have
done it
we?
so many times. Yep. Yep. The amount of times this is the great thing. If you know your story yourself, if you know the lore, and you know roughly where you want things to go, you can just, as long as you've got enough stuff available to you, like character things or stat blocks ready to go, if it's combat or something like that, you can kind of just make stuff up. I mean, you guys don't notice it, I don't think, half the time.
No, we don't.
There are many times where I just go, okay, and I have to sort of, think on my feet and, we make stuff up as I go along. And then that's the great advantage of the podcast or the YouTube. I can go back and go, right, now what was that thing I said, so that I can incorporate that and make sure that gets remembered for if it needs to be done again in the future or remembered in the future. But yeah, I make up a lot of stuff. I think a lot of DMs just make up a lot of stuff as they go along because there's so many things that I can't guarantee you. I can't say you're going to definitely go this way or that way. And I don't know what questions you're going to ask. Sometimes you might ask a question I haven't even thought. Oh, they might have asked that. So there's no actual set answer for it. Gilded Branch. Do I ever pull punches or fudge rolls? No. I know I can't. We don't have a digital dice roller. I do prefer physical dice. And I trust you guys with not fudging rolls. I think everyone's fairly honest with it. But no, I don't. And I think, to be honest, you know the answer to that because I tried to have meat leaf chucked overboard on the airship, and the amount of times I've killed you, I think you probably know by now. I don't fudge rolls. If it's I tend to have pretty crappy rolls anyway. To be honest, I'm not a very good roller, but there we are. Any other ones, or do you want to head towards the recap and going into 23?
I think that pretty much covers what we had.
Yeah, I think that'll do for now. Don't want
Oh, Branch has got one last one.
Let's hold something in reserve.
How many eggs?
Biggest influence. My biggest influence. Let's wait for the response.
Oh, it's long.
I think he means my biggest influence over the whole creation of this is probably it's very Tolkien, I think, but not high fantasy. It's fantasy, isn't it? But it's kind of like steampunky, sci-fi in a way as well. But I do like a lot of the Tolkien-esque ideas of, dwarves living under mountains and the elves being immortal, as I put it, long-lived, let's say, longer than your average bear.
Fair.
Yeah, I think it's quite Tolkien-esque, but it takes inspiration from other things, like, just sci-fi stuff, I guess. But if there's nothing else, let's have the recap. And bear in mind those two questions as well. If there's anything you want to add to the recap, and if there's any thoughts on the last episode's revelations. Pardon me. Right. Episode 23, the recap. Talking is quite painful at the moment because I've done something to my jaw while I've been sat here typing earlier. Following the battle to rid Castle View of Narfiliac and his minions, the party met once more with Pelor, who had presented himself to them after burning away the forces of darkness with his holy light. Each in turn, he reached out to the party and gave them a vision that might aid them in their future endeavours. For Logan, proof that Harriet truly is his sister, and an order of knights who took him as a boy and trained him. To Walford, proof his family are alive, but in grave danger, and in much need of rescue from what remains of Atlantalos. For Lily, a warning to use the power her sword possesses wisely, and beware that it could do all kinds of harm if she doesn't word her wishes carefully. He also offered a pathway to the goddess Melora, who would be able to offer guidance through prayer. And for Keenan, a vision of a possible future where he hangs aloft over the world, plunging into it, and the darkness that has consumed it, with a holy light destroying the world, and all the evil upon it, finally and for good. Slight retcon needs to go in there because we didn't mention something which we did when we first did it, because it was a rerun of that episode. We said Pelor had actually made Keenan a champion of his, champion of the light, which means the key of Pelor is now a bit like an arc reactor. It sort of snapped to Keenan when he came out of his dream state and bang, attached itself to his chest. And the key was a very ornate sort of golden square with a globe in the center, or a half globe, containing like a living galaxy. That is the key of Pelor, and it gave him some rather nice little abilities, I believe, which Captain Dan knows all about. So, carry on with the recap. Pelor informs the party that he has Narfiliac imprisoned on a demiplane for now, but it won't hold him forever, and they must destroy the sword that's in Griff's possession before he can escape and try to reclaim it for himself. After Pelor leaves, one of Lord Taylor's knights.
Lord Taylor!
After Pelor leaves, one of Lord Taylor's knights quickly rush in and bring the party to Parliament Square, where they find the Parliament building broken and a group of knights stood around the broken body of Lord Taylor himself, being attended to by a healer. Lily makes a desperate attempt to save him, but he's too far gone and passes away. Walford casts a spell to communicate with the dead, and has one final word with Lord Taylor. He tells Walford that he would leave control of the city with the party until a successor could be appointed. Walford uses magical means to convince one of the knights that Lord Taylor had left. My finger's autocorrected to rifle. He'd left leadership of the city to them, and after some conversation, it appeared they would likely appoint one of King Raznog's lords to rule temporarily. The party must now decide on what to do next, and that's where we pick up the action, unless anybody would like to add in anything. If I've missed anything, or you're happy with that, then that's where we'll carry on. Ignore my obnoxiously large bottle.
This is bigger than my glass.
It's a 1 gallon bottle because I'm supposed to be drinking 4.5 liters of water a day. It's ridiculous. Cool. Okay, so you're in the square. You're in Parliament Square. Lord Taylor's just passed away. His knights are sort of looking a bit lost. But you did have the other knight who came and started talking to you about what was going to happen next. Volta, you used... I can't remember the name of the spell, but you used a spell on him to portray or convey the message that Lord Taylor wanted you guys to have lordship as you are clearly capable and probably revered as champions of the city by now.
Yeah, it wasn't a spell, it was my most engaging personality and my haunted one's kind of trait. So I stared him deeply in the eyes, and he saw the horror within my soul and was convinced I was telling the truth.
And he either said or he will say to you, well, I believe that...
Yeah, so look around the eyes.
You're
It's a great honour if Lord Taylor's certainly left lordship of the city to you. I mean, you're clearly quite capable, and you've certainly saved us. But I know that you got a lot to do. I believe there was talks of you needed to organise transport for the forces to go north to Atlantalos when the time comes. I think they're about a month out. All of our forces, the dwarves, are a bit closer, about a week or so. Of course, if you wanted to, Lord King Razanog's got lords with him. They're all fairly well versed in running cities. They could probably do that for you if you wanted to have them take up lordship in your stead. And as soon as we can, the people will appoint a new leader for the city.
That's probably for the best, to be honest. We've not got any experience ourselves, and we need to go pick up an airship of our own as well for transport.
Harriet will say, yes, I think really what we need to be doing is you have your airship to collect. We need to find out about transport. Probably wouldn't hurt to do some sort of a scouting mission in Atlantalos, try and find out what's going on, get a better idea of the picture on the ground so we know where to actually deploy. And
There was also word of the AT Star Runner fella. Didn't he have some sort of weapon that we might be able to use, or something?
That was that bizarre cave that I found when we got the golem out the way. I remember you sent me there, and I came back to you to report on it, and then of course all this happened.
Yes.
But yes, the cave definitely needs some investigation into. It's something strange, and I remember you saying it reminded you of the you said a ship of some description. Did you?
The Goblin ship, yes.
Were resurrected in?
His body was built. I mean, it seems a bit like a bit of a side quest, so to speak. But if there's potential that it could help us in Atlantalos, then maybe that's a way forward.
Yeah, I definitely I could stay here in Castle View to help with the knights. I have influence in many different areas, and I could help them with establishing this temporary government. The shadows definitely could provide much needed support there. You can take my airship to go and do what you need to do. The crew will, of course, follow any of your orders. But I could try and organise with my spies. We could try and organise a scouting effort in Atlantalos. That will help later on down the line to create your battle plans.
Have the shadows got enough manpower here to deal with the Black Hand?
Unfortunately, not. As far as I know, I'm the only one in the city. I could be wrong. Of course, even if I wasn't the only one, they may have perished in that attack. We don't know what state the Black Hand is in either at the moment. This could be an opportunity for them to make their move, with everything being weakened. So, unfortunately, there's no way of telling until any of these things happen, if they happen.
Do you think so? I really don't. I know that we don't have the means to help the city as the head of the city, but is there a way so we can help maybe the people who we can put responsible for it, not to that we can help them so the Black Hand will not take over? Because I think if we leave without making sure that there is enough power
Mm.
here, the Black Hand will move in, and I don't think we want that. It is against Lord Taylor wishes, and also I don't like the idea of a criminal organization taking over the city.
And the knight says to you, I agree with you, my lady. We need to regroup and see how many of those loyal to Lord Taylor are still alive from the fighting, and hopefully there's enough that we can at least hold until the dwarves arrive. Of course, your elves are coming up from the south. They should be here pretty soon. We'll put them up as we promised in the city as best we can. The dwarves and our own forces will have to make camp outside. But once we've got a few extras who are loyal to the cause, I think, and if any number of Black Hand, they're going to probably think twice before attacking. I just hope that reinforcements can arrive quicker than sooner than later. Than so, the Black
Do
Hand doesn't feel
you
encouraged.
do you have after the attack, I know that a lot of the army and the people have died, but do you have any magic users that you trust, that they can always keep us updated with the situation in the city, so we know what's happening? Because I really don't want to lose. It's a great responsibility what Lord Taylor gave to us, and I feel personally responsible not to leave it in its own fate. So I don't know if the rest of the group will agree with that, but I personally would like to keep updated and help as much as I can, maybe as an advisor for now, and then afterwards, after we take back Landalos, then I can come back and help the rebuild of the city and remove the Black Hand completely from here.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. No, we do have wizards within the Parliament here. They were Lord Taylor's personal mages and such. So yes, they probably do have means to make contact with you if you wanted to.
Yes, no, I really want to keep updated on the situation, because now it's my responsibility of these people. I cannot ignore it.
I can't speak for them, but I'm sure that they have magical means of making contact, and I will make sure that, as I'm the most senior officer here, I'll make sure that we do stay in touch with you. I'll keep abreast of any situations, and of course, and then Harriet butts in. I'm going to be here as well, Lily. Don't worry, I can absolutely oversee. And I've had many dealings with the Black Hand. I shouldn't worry too much about them. I mean, the worst they can do
Yeah,
is
that's
muster
good.
a band of disgruntled guards, I suppose. But I
Yeah,
don't
but
think the guards will be much of a challenge for these knights.
the thing is, in an already chaotic place, you don't want to create more chaos, and this is what they probably will try to take advantage of.
I do agree with you. I do agree. Let
Our
me speak.
airship rests in the lands of King Razanog, does it not?
Yes, your airship,
King
I
Razanog
believe.
is marching from the lands of King Razanog.
Yes, he is. Yes.
If we fly your airship to pick up our airship, we will fly over the army of King Razanog and tend to get a bloody move on.
I don't think they're too far away, to be honest. I think they're only within a few days. I think the elves are probably going to be here tomorrow.
Yes, yes, the elves. They are not exactly what you would call a coherent force, however, are they?
I think if there's enough of them, though, I mean, they certainly would make up numbers to fend off any band of renegades.
Then we should be
They seem
guided by
able
you,
to.
Harriet. We should be guided by you.
But yes, I mean, it's a shame, really, that King Rasnor couldn't have at least had your airship sent here. But he did let you know that it was ready and for you to go collect it.
Well, if we go for that first, it means we can get to the other places quicker.
Ja,
Yes,
stimmt.
absolutely.
Ja.
How long would it take us to get there on foot?
What,
Horseback, at least.
you don't need to do that. You can take my ship. You can take my yacht.
That's true. Well, I mean, you got someone who can drive it back.
Yes, so the crew's on
It's
board.
like when
They
you go
can.
for an MOT, you have to.
Yes, the crew will take you. Just let them know what I've asked you. What asked of them. They won't question it.
Okay. Well, that sounds. How soon can we leave? Do you need us here for help with anything?
I think Logan will probably jump in at that point. But I say, let us not tarry. He likes saying that.
He says that all the time.
He does say that a lot. Let us not tarry here.
It is not Harry here. The recent news of my knighthood has rubbed off on me. Oh,
Harriet says, yes. You didn't get a long rest or anything last time, did you? But it won't matter if you're doing travel by air. You'll have plenty of time for rest.
we did take a long rest, actually.
Oh, you did take a long rest.
We did, yeah.
Isn't it like the next day until the funeral or something?
That was it, yeah. We rested up after speaking to Lord Taylor's minion, and then we convinced him the day afterwards that he'd slept on it and woke up thinking, oh, yeah, they must have been telling the truth.
Oh, right, okay. There we are. That's what I was saying. Remind me of this sort of stuff because I had it in my mind. This is still the same day. Okay, so yeah, this conversation took part in another area within what's left of the building the next day. So yes, Harriet will tell you, no, you don't need to hang around. You can bugger off if you want to.
Bye.
Yeah, choose, spare us.
Let us not tarry.
Come on, Logan.
More like, where's a plug socket I can shove my fingers into? Oh.
See you soon.
Bye. Cool. So you head back to the airship dock, and I mean, on your way through the city, you do see that people are starting to sort things out so they can rebuild. But you head back to the dock, and Harriet's airship's there, and the crew are there, and they'll just they recognise you, of course, and what's going on. You can tell them we're going to
Get our ship.
You're going to
Carlodia.
We're going on an airship hunt. We're going to catch a big one.
I'm scared.
We're not scared.
I think her airship. I think we said before you could do that trip in probably about 2 or 3 days. I don't think particularly far for her ship because it's quite quick.
And that's if you drove it at the speed limit.
Yeah, exactly.
Limit.
Anything downtime you want to do while you're on board this ship?
There's always a bit of poetry writing, a little bit of reminiscing about things. Nothing particularly.
So does this mean that we are traveling 3 days on a ship, or are we waiting in the city?
No, you're on Harriet's little yacht ship thing.
Lily is very keen to see how, because it's the first time I think that she sees the ship, isn't it? I don't remember if I traveled before.
You've been on here.
Yeah, that's how we got to King Ragnarok
this is how
in the
we
first
went.
place.
Oh, it's fine. Okay.
I'm trying to find some blinking
I'm just
character sheet.
trying to entertain myself with the crew and learn more about this magnificent technology.
I might try and teach the sentient potato a few tricks. Eldritch Blast or something,
Is it not moldy by now?
No, I checked this. He's still surviving. The potato lives on for the moment.
So did you do a health check?
I think his name was Tony Starch.
Yeah.
Well, by your second day of travel, one of the crew up on the deck here shouts down, "All stop!" And the ship does come to a stop. And he comes down and says to you guys, "There's something strange up here. If you want to check it out."
Is it in the neighborhood?
What is it?
We found a platform floating in the clouds.
Oh,
I take a look. Is there a platform there?
Yeah, I mean, if you go up on deck, there's like a. It looks like a Minecraft, like you've built like stone blocks into a big,
Oh, it's a jumping puzzle.
a big square platform in amongst the clouds, just floating there.
does it look like it's made of rock or dirt or
No, it's stones. It's like a
stone?
stone. It is a stone platform.
Does it have any creatures on top, or is it just?
No,
Do we see
I mean they pull
anything?
the ship. They pull the ship up quite close to it, and it's 25 feet by 25 feet across, roughly. But yeah, there's nothing.
Does it look as if it has been? If it was kind of if it was a part of the ground, and it does it look as if somebody just with magical means just crack it out of the ground and it just started?
No, it looks like it was purposely built to float there.
I
Very
am
nice.
very impressed.
Docking areas, chains or posts, hitching posts?
Nope, just a stone platform.
Are we close enough to poke it?
I want to do detect magic.
Yeah, I mean, you do detect magic. It is definitely magic.
Can I understand what schools of magic?
You can definitely detect evocation.
Mm-hmm. Is the magic all over it, or does it have also things on it that they are glowing separately?
You can see the whole thing does glow, but yeah, I mean, there's a hot spot on the on this platform.
There is a hotspot, guys, where the magic it
But
seems.
it's just glowing all around. It's just.
Maybe it's where the magic comes from. We can go and have a look. Or I can do the spell magic on it.
I mean, I can take a look, I suppose.
I'd
Someone
like to
tie
take.
a rope around me. If this goes wrong, then make sure to grab me.
Oh, can the whole crew hold all of us so we can go and have a look? I would like to come with you.
Well, I'll step on, and if it doesn't
Oh.
immediately fall, we can all take a look.
Logan's spicy, no reason not to go.
I'll stay back, but I will send Bumpsy with you.
Okay. Well, I guess tarry not.
Let us not tarry.
Kian, you don't need to. I can actually shapeshift and fly us there.
Okay.
Turn into an octopus.
Those creatures are famous for flying.
Yeah.
Straight down.
So who's going and who's staying, and how are you going?
I'm staying, but I'm sending Bumpsy as a witness because I can see through his eyes.
I think Logan realised he can't fly, so he'd probably stay on the boat.
He'd probably go. Logan would go. He'd go. Come on, Logan would go.
We'll tie a rope around him. We'll all be roped to the boat, just in case.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what I can transform into, because I can be.
Mushroom.
I'm just trying to see the challenge rating. I can
fly,
go
right?
higher.
How are you going? I'm going to go.
What's it you're trying to do?
I'm just trying to shapeshift to use my wild shape. Become like a large eagle or a hippogriff.
I think you can just do that, can't you? It's just like a casting time.
It is, and yes, but it just says how much is the challenge rate of the creature I can become.
Oh, I see. Well, the thing is, if you're in an eagle form and something goes bad, then you can stay in eagle form, and if I drop that to 0, then you come back as Lily, and you just have your normal.
Trying to see how big I can be, so I can actually carry them.
Oh, I see. As long as it's, I mean, you'd have to be pretty giant to carry 2 people.
I think I might. So my challenge.
Unless you carry them in your talons rather than on your back.
Yes, on my
Yeah,
back.
but it'd have to be a giant eagle. It would have to be pretty big.
Oh.
So I can be a beast that can have the challenge rating half divided my druid level by 3. So my druid level is
13.
so this divided by 3 is
Probably something like 4.5.
yes. So I can be a creature of that challenge rating.
Okay. So you're a challenge rating 4 creature.
Yes.
I don't think you'll find a giant eagle in challenge rating 4, but you might do.
Do you have the creature?
Hold on, where's my monster manual? Da 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 da. Giant. Giant eagle 324.
Giant eagle.
Giant eagle is challenge rating 1.
I can be bigger.
It's a large beast. I would say you could probably get away with that. You could probably. I would say, what's it? Strength 16. Yeah, you could probably carry them in your talons across if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think it will be easier rather than getting, you know, putting
Okay.
the ropes and everything. And I can do it twice, so I can go and then come back.
Okay. So you want to drop one off on the platform and then go back and get the other one.
Yes, so I can. Yes, I will do that, and I will remain in this form until.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you're dropping Keenan off first. Where would you like to be in this square, Keenan? Somewhere in the middle or on the edge?
Top left corner.
Top left. Okay. So I'm going to say on the edge. Logan, I think you're probably just going to drop him next to Keenan. As he's not here to tell us himself. What are you going to do then? You're going to fly in and you're going to stay in legal form?
Yeah. So while I'm approaching the thing from above, you remember that you told me that there is a place that it emits more light when, like radiation, when I was checking with detect magic. So I'm approaching there, and then while before I leave them there, I have a look around just to make sure that nothing is, so I won't put them in danger. And while they are down there, I will just stay above to monitor the place and see if there is any movement or we see anything.
No. There is nothing else. And where it's glowing, there's no obvious markings either. It just seems to be one of these bricks of the platform or blocks is just seemingly different to the others. Magically different to the others, but to view it without dispel magic, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Okay.
I'm going down then with them.
Okay. So you're hanging around on the edge at the moment.
Yes. Does it fall down when we land on it?
No, nothing.
Okay.
It's just floating there in the clouds.
It's solid.
It's solid. You just got clouds all around you.
I'm going to land Bumpsy on Logan's shoulders so he looks a little bit like a pirate.
Okay.
You can carry Bumpsy around, this sort of big raven sort of sat perched on one shoulder,
Yar.
cawing in his ear and But as they progress a little bit more away from the ship, I'll be able to see through Bumpsy's eyes and be as if I was there with you. Lovely.
Well, nothing happens as long as you're hanging around on the outside. Nothing is going to happen.
I mean, we would inevitably slowly make our way around it and inwards I imagine.
If you make your way to the center, all
Yep.
three of you, nothing seems to happen.
Oh, you tease! What time of day is it?
Oh, it's like the second day of travel, probably like midday or something like that. It's fairly sunny. It's not, well, I mean, you're up in the clouds, so I mean, it's a bit like when you're on an aeroplane. It can be really dismal, like,
Yeah,
but then when you go up, it's all right.
yeah.
Through the rings, I will message. Is there any markings around on the floors or anything? Have you looked at things? Have you checked?
I become Lily again, and I want to
No.
do some nature check.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you now, without rolling, it won't do very much because there isn't anything particularly natural about this. It's just a floating magical platform, so
Yeah,
there's
but
not really-
if I see any like footprints or something that indicates that something landed there, or
No, there's nothing like that. It's just, yeah, you can see there's nothing obvious like that. Even if you had a nat 20 and you literally was there with a magnifying glass, you would see that it is just a platform.
all right. So I say to them, gather around me, hold my cloak, and I want to do dispel magic on the brick. So if it falls, I will become an eagle and fly so they can hold my talons.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to do spell magic.
Oh wait, I reach into my pocket and click my immovable rod and just hold on.
What's that?
Doesn't that need to be anchored somewhere?
You just click it and it stays wherever it is.
Oh, okay, fair play.
So I'm
Forgot I
just
had
trying
that.
to.
It's okay. If you cast dispel magic,
Mhm.
nothing happens.
That's it, boys. This is where my knowledge goes. I don't know.
What's Volta
Like-
doing?
Slowly laughing myself to pieces at watching the long-distance televisual play through Bumsy's eyes at messing around on a floating rock, then an empty rock of floatingness that's just go and pick up the damn airship. I don't know. Delaying things, you peasants.
It doesn't seem to be particularly exciting. Do I recall anything? Have I heard of floating platforms for use
Give me
station?
a check for that one. Give me a
History?
that would be it.
You
History, yeah.
probably built them, Dan.
Do an onliner. History.
Onliner.
Oh, it's not too bad. 17.
You've heard tales of cloud giants, and sometimes they like to set traps.
We should probably go back to the ship. I don't know what this is, but
Why? What do you mean?
my mum told me stories when I was a kid about sky giants and traps of some sort. I don't know how this would work, but
Oh,
if it's going to be
okay.
anything, then it does look pretty ominous, you got to admit.
Yeah. Well, we tried to see what it is. Nothing happened. So, yeah, I'm happy to fly you back.
Go back to the ship.
Okay.
Doesn't tarry.
You head back to the ship.
Hmm.
Whatever the trap was, it wasn't sprung.
Nice.
When we're on the ship, can I look up further, see if there's anything above it?
No, there's nothing above it. It was just a platform amongst the clouds, but you didn't meet the conditions that I had set.
Interesting.
I
Um,
wonder whether we've been all gathered in one place, bouncing up and down on the glowing stone. What
well,
is holding this thing up?
why don't you go and give it a go? See how it ends up.
Well, I'm okay. I can fly. I don't mind.
Do you want to go and do you all want to go and investigate the glowing section, or the section that glowed the most?
You would have to convince me really well, you two, I tell you. I'm not listening to any of Logan's rubbish from this.
See, in character, I'd just be like, let's go. But metagaming, I want to know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Schmallen wasn't very happy about that outcome by the looks of it.
You cannot give us such a big trap and not not kill us.
Well, I had conditions for it to go off, and you didn't trigger them. So
So we should probably go back and start jump up and down.
I
and
sent
see.
Bumpsy. What more do you want? You know, I can make him eat more bread.
Oh, we didn't touch the brick. Maybe that was the thing.
well, it depends on how badly you want to try and like spring the trap, really, doesn't it?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Onwards.
If you want to move on, you can move on. That's a shame. I was looking forward to that. Never mind.
Okay, go back and touch it.
No, it's fine. You failed to trigger it, and you've moved on. So you finish off this day's travel, and the final day, you arrive at the familiar site of the fjords and the mountains surrounding Carnloder. And the ship comes in to the fjord where the dock is, just below Carnloder itself. And there are several ships all docked. People, as before, very busy and going about their work, moving barrels and crates and loading ships and unloading ships. And you land, and the crew sort of bid you farewell and say, well, we're going to return to Castle View just in case Harriet needs us. Obviously, you have your own ship here now, so good luck. And, of course, try and get hold of Harriet if you need anything. I'm sure she'll be in touch with you. Thanks very much. And once they drop you off, they sort of
Thank
pretty
you.
swiftly turn around and
Toodles.
head on out. Toodles.
Sorry, Dan, can you check your messenger, please?
Do, 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 do.
So, here we are in Castleview on the dock. So, away from the docks, the road leads up the hill slightly for about, I think it was about a mile, and then there's the base of the mountain there, which is where the city is itself. But here, of course, it's quite the fjords. Fjords are very long, sort of lakes and rivers and such. So, set in amongst the valleys of the mountains. So it's quite a long stretch. Wooden decks, huts, and other buildings built where things are like warehouses, things are going in and out. And a dwarf comes up to you, and he is carrying a clipboard with various papers on him. It's winter. It is cold here. He's got a very heavy winter coat on, which is plain with brown fur around the cuffs and the neck of it. He has tan skin and a thick red beard, and a big fluffy hat with the ear covers on him. If you're not wearing any winter gear, you might want to put some on if you do have it. If you don't have it, you are going to be feeling the cold. It's not particularly pleasant.
I will prestidigitate my clothes form.
Cool.
Do I feel cold?
I guess it'd be against your damage immunities.
I've got a set of fine clothes.
Probably won't keep you warm.
I put them on top of the clothes I'm wearing as an extra layer.
I'll give you.
Are you wearing any more clothes?
Are there any shops around so I can buy some clothes, please?
Well, there will be in the actual city, yeah. But he'll say to you, "Greetings, strangers. I am the dockmaster. Name's Indigo Alders. You don't look particularly well dressed for the weather. So hold on. Why don't you come with me down to the office, and we'll see what we've got in there in the way of coats. And you lead down down the dock, down the way, a couple of yards, into a stone-built building with wooden extremities, and he takes you in and sort of rifles around in a chest. He goes, right, here you go. This should stave off the cold for a little while. And you've all got sort of like parkas, basically, quite thick, quite well lined with fur, but ill-fitting as they are dwarf sort of sized. So if you're human-sized, obviously, well, you pretty much all are.
It's
they'll
a
only do
shame
so
I'm not.
much.
It's a shame I'm not a higher level because we would have been in the beach within a few minutes.
Yeah,
Control weather.
yeah. Well, they'll keep you warm for a little while, but of course, the effects of the cold is you'll start getting exhausted if you stay in the cold and ill-prepared clothes. But anyway,
To be quick.
we'll stay in here for a minute. It's slightly warm enough. But tell me, what's your business here in Khan Lodi, strangers?
We're well, we have been here before. You probably wouldn't remember. We were here during the siege a while back. We helped fight out. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but either way, we've come to pick up an airship that the King Razanog had made for us, commissioned.
Ah, you're them.
I
Yeah, I was told to expect some travellers, actually. Let me just check on my list, and he starts going through his papers. He goes, right, can you give me your names just so I can confirm that it's you?
it might be under Devil's Bane.
No, I haven't got
No?
nothing like that. I mean, what are your names?
You could try Volta.
Aye, that's the name I've got on here. Anyone else?
Lily.
Lily, yeah, that's one of them.
Keenan Finnanahannigan.
Yep, and then
Logan.
and Logan. Aye, yeah, I got you all here. Right, okay, well that settles that then. If there's nothing else you can give me to prove your identity, then I mean, that's all I've got to go with. There was a letter left for you actually from King Raznog himself.
Ooh.
I neglected to post this anywhere, so I will read it to you. Who would like to receive the letter?
I can receive it.
Okay. I'll pass it. He passes it to Lily, and if you open it, it says on there, "Dear adventurers, if you're reading this letter, then I'm sorry I'm not here to welcome you to your new vessel. It means that the cogs are turned and you have made progress in retaking Atlantalos, and you have both had news the ship is ready. Hang on, what have I written there? You have made progress in retaking Atlantalos, and you have both had news the ship is ready and that you have found it necessary. Come and collect it. I've not had the honour of inspecting it myself, but from what I saw, it's looking like it'll be a fine airship. Regretfully, I believe the winter set in work on the. Regretfully, I believe the winter set in and work on the lodge is slowed down. Will probably be completed sometime in the spring. I've assigned a captain and a crew to the ship until you become familiar with the running of a ship yourselves and feel confident to employ your own crew. Oh, and don't worry, you don't need to pay them. Their wages covered by Khan Lodir. I look forward to meeting you again soon to discuss battle plans. I'll meet you at Castle View in due course. Yours, King Razanog. Now, I did post into Discord somewhere the appropriate stat blocks and the image of the airship, which was called, I believe, the Defiant. If Branch is able to, he might be able to share a picture of what it looks like.
I think he's had to step away for a second.
Oh, he stepped away for a moment. That's cool. Okay. Well, for anyone watching, there is actually an image which I created of what the ship looks like. If we get that up tonight, we do. If not, then we could always do that next time. It's not the end of the world. Cool. So he will show you down down through the dock towards where your ship is. And yeah, so the ship itself looked like, if I get the description up, for people
Bitchin'.
to enjoy, it was bitchin', for people to enjoy the description of this ship. It would help us in the right area for the file. The Defiant.
Puppy.
There it is. So you was led down the dock, and you arrive at what looks to be, for all intents and purposes, a normal kind of oldie wooden ship. No masts, however, and there's two great big wings on it, effectively, which, for lack of a better description, are somewhat like what you see on the Starship Enterprise. But again, with the picture, it'll make more sense when we get that up. It has a conning tower, and behind that, so the conning tower is quite forward on the ship. Behind that is a glass dome towards the back section, and then there's the raised up aft section with some sort of great big cannon on it. You can see 4 ballistas, port and starboard. And what seems to be just in the water, you can just see a long prow which comes to a point, so perhaps some sort of battering ram. So that's what you see. And as you're sort of taking in this view, you hear a voice call down. And let me just remind myself of the captain. Right. Greetings. You must be the adventurers I've heard of. I'm Captain Deucalion Stain. Please step aboard. And there is a gangway if you want to make your way up. And you're greeted by a female dwarf. She's wearing a winter coat, as everyone else is around here. It's blue and quite long. She has a tricorn hat, long black plaits tied up behind her head, rosy cheeks, and very green eyes. She's very pretty to take on. So I'm afraid I don't know your names. Please do tell me who you are.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Keenan.
Nice to meet you, Keenan.
This is Lily, Walter, and Logan over there beating up the side of the wall.
Beating at the side of the wall.
As usual.
Not beating off at the side of the wall.
The wall offended me. Oh, I must not tarry on this wall.
Well, it's very nice to meet you all. I'm the captain. As I said, I'm Captain Stain. I'll be helping you. I'll run the ship. We do have a crew ready to go. This is, and she points across, and up on that sort of raised up section at the back there. You guys can probably pull this up on Discord. I think it's in there somewhere if you want to remind yourselves of what it looks like. Near this big cannony thing. That's the first officer, Dern Windwalker, and he is an Aarakocra. He's very vibrantly coloured. He looks a bit like a parrot. Well, he is a parrot, basically. He's got, again, blue coat. He's got his pocket watch and a monocle. And a... what the hell does that say? A cocked hat.
What?
What did I mean when I said cocked hat? Oh, I think he's got a tricorn thing, but it's like off to one side. Oh no, it's the long ones with the very Napoleon type.
The bicorn hats.
Yeah. But this is let's say that Napoleon style hat. And so that he's my first officer. And then you have his sister. And that's the sailing master, Hendra Windwalker. I don't know where she is at the moment. She might be below. And then we got the boatswain, Magnair Walker. He's quite old. He's a bit crotchety, but he's a good sailor. We got the chief engineer. She's down below somewhere. Morn Leonis. She's an elf, like yourself, a good lady. And you got the gun crews. They're led by Patrick Breacher. He's another dwarf like myself. You've got your cook. He's down in the galley. Van der Phalis. He's a young elf. He's sort of, I don't know how we really acquired him. He's not that great, to be honest. And then there's a surgeon. He's about somewhere. Volta, Incultes. He's a halfling actually. He's one of the wee ones. And so yeah, I mean they're kind of dotting about doing various bits, and of course there's other sort of dogs' bodies doing crew work. So these guys that I mentioned are kind of like the heads of their departments. So they're the ones who like lead various bits and bobs on the ship, but they do have people beneath them. It's going to take you a little while. Obviously, you have to do introductions yourself and figure out what everyone's doing and where you sort of fit in on the ship. The best thing I can really suggest for you is to just get to know the stations. So inside the glass dome there, that's the helm. That's actually where my first officer spends most of his time. Or was it? Hold on. I've got all different bits written down here for this because this gets very complicated. No, I'm telling a complete lie. It's our sailing master. She spends a lot of time in there. The first officer does more of the navigation side of things. He spends more time up in the conning tower, up right at the front there. Obviously, we've done away with sails and masts because this is an airship. Quite an advanced one, actually. And the conning tower sort of serves more as like a crow's nest on a traditional ship. But you try to find the image there.
Yeah.
You know, I could have actually done that myself. I do have the image here. I could screen share it. Hold on, let's do that, shall we?
I think Brant is back. He could probably do it easily.
Are you there, Steve? Are you able to share the image of the ship? I could do it myself, really. It's only...
Don't know why this isn't working.
Hold on. Let me screen share. I can do that. How do I screen share? Where is it? Where is the button for that?
And
Show my... Hey? How do I do it? We're killing the vibe here, aren't we? Oh, no, it's there. It's that button there. Duh. Right. Go live? Oh, I don't know. No, I'm not going to play with that. Yes, there it is. If you look at Captain Dan Face's screen, that is the Defiant. So you have the raised up section at the back with that cannony looking thing. You see what I mean by like the Starship Enterprise style wing type engines, and then you've got the conning tower at the front, similar to what you have on a submarine, and the glass domey thing behind, and then that sort of battering ram type thing at the very front on the prow. Not a bad little image, if I say so myself. I think I did a good job there. Yeah, but just, I think those are what the things you should do. Really, is just get to know some people on board and maybe just sort of see how things go. But have you got a sort of destination in mind where you'd like to go next, or on your adventures? We don't want to be sat around here in port forever. We're fully stocked. We got plenty of food and water on board. We're armed, so we shouldn't have too much difficulty if anyone tries to attack us. She's all yours.
Well, I suppose we should take her out for a spin. Have you been for a flight yourself?
No, this will be a maiden voyage. She's been built and commissioned. She's been sat here waiting for you. We've run tests, of course, to make sure engines are working and stuff like that.
Well then, Captain Stain, I suppose we should take her out.
Aye, but
where? Where? We'll just fly around in circles for a while.
Go vest. I don't know.
Seems like an awful
Where
waste
is-
of fuel just to be.
Where is the closest summer place? Let's go there.
Summer. There isn't very many warm places this time of year, my lady.
Canaan's the island of the Star Runner. Where is the island of the Star Runner? Can you remember in your vast memory?
I can. I'm sure I can. It was on the
Maybe.
oil of. That's a
Oil
picture
of
of
you
a
there.
dragon.
Is he gonna remember?
Oh, that's really old notes.
It was a long
Jeez.
time ago.
It was like. Oh, we'll get it. Wilcox and the Goliath. Remember Wilcox the Goliath?
I do remember Wilcox. Yeah,
He
yeah.
was trained for murder.
Fort Rock. Okay, that's around there then.
I'll give you a clue. It's when
Buckwin Island!
Buckwin, where Waterhole is. Ah, yes. You want to go to Buckwin? Yeah, I know where Buckwin is. Waterhole's up that way. Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, yeah. That's where the Agricultural Guild is stationed. Yeah, we can go there. What sort of business is it you need to do? Is it any of my business? I'm guessing adventurers such as yourselves. I mean, we're going to probably be running into dangers and troubles, and that's not a problem. The crew's ready to face whatever. I mean, we are on an armed ship after all. We are.
There may be troubles ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance.
Aye, well, if...
Your hair is magnificent.
Oh, thank you very much. You're definitely a picture yourself.
Thank you.
You could join me in my quarters later on for a wee drink if you like.
Ooh.
All of
We
you.
hope you
leave
like
it.
it.
I
All
pat
of
him,
us.
I
Oh.
pat him on the back.
Hang on. This has taken a turn.
Can I respectfully decline?
If you want to.
Do we have quarters of our own, by the way, Captain? Is there accommodation?
Yes, so we're just yes. Down below decks, I haven't actually drawn up the internals of the ship yet. To be honest, I completely forgot about that. It's a couple of decks, and there will be a deck dedicated to quarters. Her quarters are in the rear of the ship, inside of that sort of bit at the back. And that's also where the officers sort of come to hold meetings and such alike. But yeah, the general crew quarters are below, and it's just a series of cabins. So you got a corridor that sort of leads around the ship, and there's just cabins all around, basically.
Why are they called quarters? Does it have any relation to it being a quarter of the space?
I don't know. That's something for you to Google later on.
I can give you a summary, but maybe off stream because it's really quite boring.
Just to say, yeah. There are quarters down below. Perhaps I'll get one of the officers to probably the boatswain. He can probably take you around and show you a few bits and bobs. Show you where you're probably going to find some empty quarters because, of course, a lot of people have been here for a while. They've taken their own spaces already, but they're all equal in size and layout. There's beds, desk, that sort of thing in there.
Good. I would hope that as the owners of the boat, we might find some quarters, a little corner somewhere.
Yeah. It's not. It's modest, It's nothing's too exciting, of course, but.
But does it
anyway.
give you privacy?
Thank you for your kind invitation at drinks this evening. It will be delightful to open a cork with you.
Aye, well, yeah. Officers generally take dinner with me in my quarters, so yeah, we'll be there. Bring yourself along. You can sample some of Vanda's delicacies, shall we say?
Are there quarters for ladies?
Oh, it's individual quarters. You got your own space.
Oh, that's good.
You're not sharing. I mean, you can share if you want to with someone, but
no,
it's all individual. Cool.
Okay.
Well, she'll give the nod, and you start hearing the thundering of these engines just bursting into life. And the whole thing starts to shake and vibrate a bit, and eventually starts raising up out of the lake. And if you want to know how it works, I can tell you. If you just want to accept the fact it works, it works. It's entirely up to you. But up it goes.
It's like
And
that scene in the Avengers. The helicarriers start taking off.
yeah, something similar to that. On the bottom, basically, there's some. I think it's in the picture. There's some like globes, and it uses magic to basically raise itself. That it's. I'm trying to think of what it might be like. It's sort of like a magical force being pushed down, and it's lifting the whole thing up, and then the winged engines are just the thing that thrusts it forward. So altitude's controlled by how much up and down thrust is being produced by this magical effect underneath. There is a greater explanation for it, but that's the basic know-how. But the day goes on, and it comes around to evening. Did you want to sort of have that RP experience at the dinner table, or do you want to just skip ahead to heading to Buckwin?
I mean, we'll have some polite conversation, get to know the crew a bit.
This is where
They're going to be potentially laying down their lives for us.
This is where I made a rod for my own back. All these NPCs. Cool. So, I mean, if you go to her quarters, she's there at the head of this table. And with her is the first officer, so Dern Windwalker, the Aarakocra. He's the vibrantly coloured one. Looks a bit like a Harlequin macaw, I think was the actual name for it. His sister is there, Hendra Windwalker. She's also obviously an Aarakocra, but she's more of a grey macaw. Just pretty much the same, the blue waistcoats and that sort of jazz. They're all in more formal gear now rather than winter clothes, even though it's still cold, of course. Who else would be in there? I think you've probably got the chief engineer, who is the female elf, Morn Leonis. She is still wearing her dirty boiler suit. It's well used, has a lot of tears on it. She has a tool belt. She has goggles, long brown hair, it's all tied up. Skin's not as smooth as what you expect to see of an elf. She is calloused and a little bit bruised and cut here and there from her job. And the surgeon, Volta Incultes, the halfling man, halfling male, I should say. He's got wispy hair, grey short beard, white shirt, short black trousers, and yeah, he's there. The cook, Van der Phalis, is sort of, adorning the table with various foods. He's a young elf man. He's got short hair. He's wearing chef's clothes, very dirty, very stained. His hands appear to be cut and burnt, but he seems to be quite timid. As you come in, she'll say, our new masters, I suppose I could call you. Perhaps, I don't know. I don't really know what to call you, to be honest.
No need for that. Call us crew.
Our additions to the crew. Come and sit down. And she sort of gestures to a few seats at the table, and you sit down. And these quarters are quite nice. You've got the window, traditionally like an old ship. The windows at the back that overlook out over what's behind you. It's quite a large room. There's this desk which is obviously being multifunctional. For now, it's a dinner table. There's some bookcases in here. There's charts and other things. And yeah, she sort of gestures and you sit down. And she'll tell everyone around the table your names. I'm not going to go through all that again. And yeah, this young elf, the chef, the cook, at Captain Downface's request, he is French.
Yes.
Bastard. And he'll place some food in front of you and sort of lift this lid off of the plate, and there's some sort of weird looking soup. God, French accent. This is your meal for the evening. I'm not very good at French. It is a lovely onion soup. This is a very good French accent. I get my outrageous French accent back at some point, but this is an onion soup, and it has many root vegetables inside of it. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you
He
very
doesn't sound very
much.
timid either, does he? And he sort of does the same for everyone else. Would anybody like the wine? Which is like,
Obviously, when Lily realized that everybody went there, she went there. Of course, I would like some wine. From which place did it come from, and what is the variety, please?
he just looks at the bottle. I do not know. I am not very well versed in the wines, but he leans over to try and pour some, but the sort of jolt in the ship, and he pours it on your lap. Oh my gosh! I am so sorry.
That's all right. I can understand. You can just put it here.
I'm so sorry. The captain just says, Vanda, will you get out of here now? Get back down the galley. Get dessert ready, will you? This soup, I don't think it's going to take us very long to get through. And I expect something more hearty tomorrow. Aye, yes, Captain.
Yes, where is the steak?
Mike's turned into Branch of the many acts.
I'm not very good at a French accent, all right? When Dan said it, I was like, I'm not going to say no. Which is my
Before you speak, every time you have to go in your head.
That's to get me in the mood.
Yeah.
You must just remember le baguette.
Everyone sort of looks around at each other at this, and Volta, the surgeon, he looks up and he just says, well, I don't know very much about this. We didn't have this sort of food where I come from. It's all pastries and, pies and things like that. What about you? And he looks across at Kane and he says, what about you, sir? You're an exotic-looking fellow.
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't really eaten much for a long time. So anything that I can put in my mouth right now tastes amazing.
And the sort of, Captain sort of pushing odd bits of root vegetable around in this liquid. And Hendra Windwalker sort of looks around and says, well, I've certainly never had anything quite like this before. But, yes, I'll give it a go. Starts tucking in, and I don't know, how would a parrot sort of deal with soup? I just
With a
don't know.
straw, my friend, with a straw.
I think so. The first officer just says,
One bird can't eat
Captain.
soup, but two can.
Oh,
If they were hummingbirds, it wouldn't be so much of a problem, would they? Because they're quite good at getting liquid. But the first officer, he looks at Captain. Captain, perhaps we could do something about his menu. I mean, this is just appalling. I know. Bad when we were in port because we didn't actually really rely on him. We were just getting food brought down from Carnlodia. But they got a great takeaway service, actually. Have you ever heard of any takeaway services in Carnlodia? From the many taverns? Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, you could just...
haven't they got McBullywug?
A McBullywugs. Yeah, there's a McBullywugs in there. Yeah.
do they deliver?
They do deliver. I
but
Do
believe
they
it's
do
chicken and
kitty
beef.
as well?
it's great.
Call
There's a great...
them.
If you've got one of these sending stones tuned into Just Feast, they do it for you.
Oh god.
Did somebody say Just Feast?
Possibly not with this soup, but it's fine.
Well, I think we'll be doing
I think
something
we should
about his
try.
cooking. I mean, if any of you are any good at cooking, you can always go down there and.
No, we should try to order. This is not appropriate food.
I don't
for
think
here,
we're going to
okay?
get very many deliveries to an airship that's on a voyage, to be honest with you.
I don't
I
know.
mean-
the Arakocra seem perfectly capable of.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, we could probably get a Cochrane messenger to. Oh, and then she looks at Dan. Dan, you could just fly back, couldn't you? I mean, it might be a bit cold by the time it gets here, but we could have a McBullies, couldn't we? He says, No, I don't think I'm quite going to be able to do that journey in quite the time you'd like me to. You might be quite hungry by the time I come.
Maybe if you could find a fly through on the way.
Aye, there might be a fly through one. We'll have to keep our eyes open. I'm not sure that we will find one.
Well, we can always hope.
So tell me the business you have. We're going back towards Waterholes. What is it you're hoping to achieve? And what exactly am I dropping you?
Well, there's a hill just outside of the town, whose name I cannot now remember.
I don't think the name. There was a hill name for the hill. It was just general
The
wilderness.
town had a
Big
name.
Hill number 127.
Yeah.
There's a hill there. We'll guide you when we get nearer to it. But there was a strange sort of golem-like figure on top of it, who we have since removed and unveiled a cave with some technologies within that might help us against the coming situation.
Okay. Slight problem. We can't land. So I think what we might have to do is we do have some rope ladders. Drop you there.
That's fine.
And we can give you a sending stone or something, and then we'll head back
Cool.
down to Waterholes. Maybe more up down there somewhere, and then when you're ready, we can come pick you up again. I think it's probably the easiest way of doing it, unless we just stop at Waterholes and then you can make your own way up there.
It shouldn't be a problem.
I don't mind
Um,
jumping stuff. It's quicker.
Yeah, Hendra
Unless
says.
you wanted to pay a visit to the merchants in the town.
Well,
Anyone
Hendra says.
particular?
I believe I could get you quite close. I can fly us in there. That's not a problem. And then yes, I can go down to the town. Oh please, Captain, can we go into the town? I really could do with probably spending a little bit of coin. Captain, aye, we can go in the town. That's all right. I think everyone somewhere else rather than back at Carnload here. So yes, that's fine. Excellent. I'm really happy for that. Is there anything else you want to do you want to ask the captain or any of the crew anything? Or do you want to kind of like just skip forward a bit? I mean, it's entirely up to you.
How long is the journey going to take us?
So you're on the first night. Carnloader to Thingy, to Waterhold was, I think, off the top of my head, was about a 5 to 6 day journey. And that was in no, it wasn't. It would be a 5 day journey in this ship because it was only a 3 day journey in Harriet's because it was obviously it's a quicker ship.
So we do have time to teach the young cook some basic camp cookings then.
You can teach him some cooking if you want to go and teach him some cooking. If you'd like to do cooking with Vanda.
I do not believe we want to face that soup every night for the next 5 nights.
I think he probably knows other recipes. He was just trying to be fancy. It's the maiden voyage. He wanted to do something fancy. When the main course is dealt with, however, word is sent, and in comes Vanda with a trolley, and he takes the lid off, and there's like a trifle there. A lovely looking trifle, actually. As this is the grand masterpiece of my cuisine knowledge. As this is a lovely trifle. Who would like to try some first?
Oh, I think we could persuade Logan to try the first piece of trifle.
I see no reason to tarry.
No. Big bowl full of trifles there. Help yourself, why don't you?
So, the first layer is the cream. I whip up the cream, and then I spoon it over the second layer, which is a lovely creme anglaise. Because those of us with this type of accent do not believe that custard exists. And then underneath, I have made an exciting layer over the biscuit and fruit. of blue cheese. I think it adds a certain depth of flavor.
Did you say blue cheese?
Blue cheese. Oui.
All right.
So enjoy the flavor. Bon appetit.
I
It
think I
is-
will pass. Thank you.
And Logan dips in, big spoonful. It's not so bad, actually. You should try some. The captain just looks at him and says, "Oh my God, what have we picked up here?"
No.
Blue cheesecake trifle actually exists.
Is it?
Mhm.
Does it really?
Yeah.
No.
It is
Well, there you go.
amazing what you can put blue cheese in if you really want to,
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, that was quite a good little pull off the top of my head then. I had no idea that was actually a thing. Cool. Well, I mean, if you don't want to do very much other RP, or we can skip if you want to do some RP, and if you want to twat around with Vander down in the kitchens on the next day, you certainly can.
I don't know. Who haven't we spoken to yet that we can speak to? And
Oh, you haven't spoken to the bosun, Magnia Walker, the old miserable git. He was one that now he was going to show you around actually, find you some quarters. So would you like to meet him?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So he is. I say he's old. He's grey. He's got a short beard. But I didn't tell you what he looked like. He's an old man, an old human male. Grey hair, short beard. Looks a bit like Captain Birdseye, basically. He's got a clay pipe. He does have an eye patch. He's got very scruffy clothes, rips and tears in them. Sort of a blue woolly jumper, black trousers and boots. He says you sort of approach him. He's pointed out to you, and you approach him to find your quarters for the evening. Hello, how can I help you?
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And you? What is it you do here?
I'm the boatswain. I look after the crew, the well-being, make sure the ship running the ships, so up to the captain's standards.
Well, you're doing a fine job, if I do say so.
Oh, you're very kind, sir. So, what can I do for you? You've approached me, but you haven't told me what you want. You ain't any of them unsavory types, are you?
No. Could you?
for us to
Some-
rest our very heads.
He looks at Lily and he goes, "Oh my God, another woman on the ship. Oh, we're in for awful bad luck. I keep telling them, stop bringing women on board. Then they bring on a female captain. It's a man's
What are
game.
you talking about?
It's bad luck to have a woman on board, didn't you know?"
I'm sorry, but probably it's bad luck because you're so negative about it.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I like the ladies. But I think
Yes,
there's a
I can
time and
see
a place
that.
for a lady, but not on my ship. Well, not this
It
my
is,
ship. Anyway.
first of all, it's not your ship, it is your captain's ship, who is a woman, so...
I know, I was telling them it's awful bad luck, but they did it anyway.
Yes.
I think they wanted to do it to spite me.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Anyway, what can I do for you?
I don't think I want anything from you, and I just leave.
Oh. Okay. What about the rest of you?
Have you tried
Right.
this trifle?
Oh, not one of Vander's bloody cucking things. Like, oh, it's awful, it is. Been stuck with that for days, just before you arrived on board. Everyone else is going up to that restaurant takeaway thing up in the city, but I don't go much for that greasy muck. So I've been dealing with Vander's cooking instead.
Oh, would you look at the time? I best be off.
Okay, this has been a very weird interaction for me, I must say. What about you, sir? Looking at Volta and Logan, what would you, sirs, like? What can I do for you?
Quick tour of the ship, as I said, and a little bit of a tell us where the quarters are that we can rest our very heads. I did say this right at the start.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, I missed that. Well, yes, I tell you what, why don't we? I showed her some empty quarters. get some rest, and then tomorrow, if you like, I can give you a quick tour of the ship. How's that sound?
Yeah, good. Empty quarters is good. I wish to rest.
Well, there's a lovely row of 4 cabins over here. If you want to tell your friend who's disappeared, she can take one of these, and you're all next to each other. Okay?
Good to
Very
know.
good. Yeah. Very good. I will send Bumpsy off flapping away down the ship to chase after Lily, and guide her to her quarters later. So Bumpsy can go and do that errand because I am going to go to sleep and try and sleep it up.
Yeah, I'm following Bumpsy if she's coming to find me.
And they're all quite standard, quite plain, these cabins. You can personalize them as you wish. But there's a sea chest, like sort of thing at the foot of the bed. So you've got storage. There's your bed. There's a small desk and a chair you can write at. There's a candle on the desk. And that's pretty much it. There's like a small wardrobe to put clothes in. That's more or less it. Like I said, if you want to customize them at any point, any things you find that you want to stick in there, then you can do. But for now, that is your quarters.
I suppose we should have a sleep.
If you have a little sleep, you can decide again, do you want to do some bits and bobs, or would you like to just skip ahead and we'll get on to the next chapter?
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Skip ahead. We've had enough. We've done our bit for accent familiarization, I think, across the
Oh no, that is a rod
boundaries.
flying back.
It may be that we wish to do a whole interview process with them individually at some point in the future. A Q&A with the crew. How are you feeling about flying in their ship? No, skip ahead.
Did you say the engineer was Norwegian?
No, I did not say the engine was Norwegian.
I believe he was a Peruvian who had been lost in a rainforest and had never yet encountered anything other than trees.
He's a mute. Oh, I tell you, my jaw is absolutely killing me. I don't know what I've done to it. Oh. Anyway, so yeah, I mean the trip goes on fairly uneventfully, and you arrive over the hill, and the rope ladder goes down, and you're dropped off, and you see the ship disappearing off into the distance, and then away over towards the coast. Again, it's very cold. It is winter, and you are much further north now as well. This island is much further north. They did outfit you with some winter gear on board the ship, so that you are slightly more prepared. And of course, an airship is going to be cold anyway, isn't it, if you're roaming around on the deck? So they do have plenty of provisions for that. We can go down the valleys if you want to there, Corpse. If you need a Welsh accent, we can do that, no problems.
Maybe the cook just thought it was classy to pretend to have a French accent.
Maybe. No, I think we have to stick with that. We're sticking with that. Let me go back a few pages because that was earlier notes that I wrote. So, you arrive back here, and yes, noticeably, you were here last in the summer months. It's a lot colder. It's raining and it's windy. You can't see too far in the distance because it's that hazy grey colour that often comes with heavy rain. The golem is now to one side, and so is the capstone thing that it was stood on. But Harriet's left like a board over the hole that was left there.
Safe.
Well, it's just to stop water going in it, really. Like, it rains. It's not there to protect it from anything.
Well, pull the board away and peek inside.
When you peek inside, you can see like a rusty old ladder that goes down. A shaft.
Well, I guess the water still got inside if that's rusty.
Well, it depends. I mean, why don't you investigate it? Give me some sort of an investigation. See if you can determine anything about this.
It's a ladder. Investigation. Oh, that 22 total.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the capstone has done its best to protect this, but it's been here a long time. It's quite old, and this shaft seems to be part of the land, and this ladder has been built to attach to it. So it's been protected, but obviously, water goes through the earth, so it's got into where the metal is.
Does
I
it
mean,
look? Will it still support our weight from that look?
to be honest, it's just a case of you're going to have to just give it a go. It looks usable. It just looks rusty.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, did you have dark vision?
I do now. Yeah, I think so.
60 feet.
I think I was given it. It's not in my proficiencies.
I think you do.
Yes, I have it here.
Yeah, with dark vision, you can sort of peer down there, and you can see the bottom. It's not that far down. You'd estimate maybe about 30 feet. The ladder goes so far. And then it seems to there seems to be like a piece of ground, but the ground looks it's dirty. It's dirty, but there's like a further hole in that ground which goes down, which you can see, and there's a much better conditioned ladder there going into the second hole.
Okay.
It's up to you. I mean, you can proceed down there, or you can investigate around up here. I see no reason to tarry.
We can go and see.
Yeah, we had a pretty good look around here when we were last here. So let's go down.
As you proceed down the first ladder, you arrive at the this first floor, if you will, and you hear. I mean, the shaft itself is probably 4 feet around.
Jesus.
You dirty boy. Yeah, it's about a 4-foot shaft. You go down it, and then you arrive on this ground, which sounds kind of like metallic. Sounds hollow. So if you stamp your feet on it, it's like dunk, dunk, dunk. But it's dirty, so it looks like earth from up above. And then there's this ladder going down again. Anyone? I don't think Logan has dark vision. Anyone else not have dark vision?
No, I've got super duper dark vision.
Yeah, cool. Logan, is anyone able to cast anything on him, or is he going to have to light up a torch?
I could cast silence on him. That would be fun. He's already fairly quiet.
He's been fairly quiet today.
I see no reason to.
I see no reason to look where I'm going.
Not only he cannot see, we cannot hear him either, so he will be lost forever.
A cool trick he could do. He likes to do it, doesn't he? Sometimes he'll draw his sword out, do that thing where he can make it turn into flames. So he's kind of like got a torch, of sorts. It's a bit dangerous looking in a tight space, but you drop down the secondary ladder and you find a room that Harriet had described to you. It's a strange metallic room, and Logan drops down. His sword sort of illuminates things quite well inside of here. You see at one end of this room 2 chairs. And they're positioned at some strange-looking desks that have levers and buttons all over the place. Behind that, and to the sides, a few more desks, more strange levers and buttons. And directly behind that, and in the center of the room, the desk with the red blinking light that was described to you, with a glass panel, like a window, in the middle of the room, and this big desk with a panel on it. And there's a blinking red light flashing away on the desk.
Oh, sorry, I thought you finished. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the pane of glass itself is about 5 feet across and 3.5 feet tall. And behind that desk, so you've got 2 chairs at the very front with a desk with levers and buttons. Desks and levers and buttons going down either side. In the middle, this sort of table with the red flashing light in the glass panel. Then you guys, where this ladder's come down, and behind that is another doorway, but that doorway's shut. This
Does
is
it
very much up to you what you want to do.
does this the way this room is made? Does it remind us the control room of the other airship? Does it look as if it is a control room?
Well, for you, it's completely unrecognisable because you weren't there. For Corbs, for Volta and for Keenan, does share similar architecture. It's metal. It's very smooth, very polished. It's rounded inside, and what you as players know to be consoles look very similar to what was in what you know to be a Goblin spaceship. But the lack of light and the blinking red light on this desk are, of course, a mystery to you.
Can I
But yes, to
investigate
Lily,
the red light?
yeah, you can investigate it. I was just going to say for Lily, this is obviously very alien to you. You haven't seen anything like this before.
Hmm. But it's really interesting to see what it is. I have 16.
Yeah, I mean, this red light, as you look around the panels, it looks like other buttons or switches, and perhaps experimenting with other ones. You know that you can press them, and they either depress and stay depressed until you press it again, or perhaps they just press in and come straight back out.
First
But
of
they
all,
don't do anything.
because as you said, this is the first time I see something like that. So the first thing I will do is detect magic because this is how she knows. She doesn't know about technology. Okay, she has seen the
Yeah.
ship that we were now, but
The only magic you detect is the magic you've brought with you.
okay.
There's nothing magical about any of this.
I don't
This
suppose there are any useful gnomish corpses lying about the place.
No, there are no corpses in here.
Oh, that's a terrible shame. It always makes a control room look so much more lived in.
this is very
Nice
strange.
tapestry.
What do you think this thing is, guys? I've never seen something like that before, and it's not even magic.
But it's kind of reminiscent of a ship I've seen before. But Lord knows what it's doing underground or how long it's been here.
So have you been in something like that before?
I have. It's where this body was made. Before I was brought back from my warforged body. It's the goblin people sort of took me and transferred my consciousness. I don't know
Hmm.
if they're necessarily of this realm.
Wow,
But
how strange. I've never heard something like that before.
hmm,
Logan, probably, I think, knowing Logan, why don't we just press the button?
Yeah,
I
that was the
mean,
next move.
Logan,
it
we
is
told you
flashing.
about fiddling with things you don't understand. Then you had to take that restraining order under your belt.
Because
Yeah, but it's a
what
flashing
what
red
is the
button.
worst? What is the worst that can happen?
Well, it's a flashing
It's not
red button. Red
magical,
is
so
a good color.
Yeah, but if it's not magic, it means it's probably something that we don't
it's not
understand.
magic. Uh, and I have seen like I have investigated the room pretty well. I didn't see any traps, so
Are there any language materials on the console? Any symbols or?
Nothing at the moment. While it's in darkness, there is nothing. Apart from this just flashing light. There is no written word anywhere.
Lily is she really wants to press the button, so you see her going closer, and you can see here that she's going to press it.
If you press it, the
Yeah,
screen or this glass panel kind of illuminates slightly. Like a very faint light, white light. So you get the impression it's turned on or something like that. And it starts to display and this would absolutely blow your minds because it's like, what the fuck is this? It's like it's not like Star Wars, like the holograms, like when they got the hologram of the Death Star and they're trying to figure out how they're going to attack it. It's a 3D image, but on the 2D screen, and you see a world, a planet, but then you start to notice things about it, and it's like, hang on a minute, that looks like grown land. That looks like different islands, and of, and you start to think this might just be a pic. It's revolving as well. It's like a picture, a map of Vaybaba. Because you've seen globes, like for example in the naval office back at Waterhold. There, you've seen globes of what the world actually looks like, because people have figured out, well, we haven't. It's not a 2D planet. It's not like a disc world, because we haven't sailed off the end of it around it. So therefore, it must be a ball of some description. So they kind of figured that one out. And of course, they have telescopes, and they can see moons, and they know they're round. So yeah, you've seen globes before. As it rotates, you see Buckwin, and as it sort of rotates and you see Buckwin, the island that you're currently on, it zooms in on that, and then the red flashing light from the button stops, and it transfers onto the screen, and it sort of zooms right in, and you can sort of see, oh, that's where we are, and then it zooms out, and then you see the whole world again, but with the red flashing light on it, and then it zooms out further, and you start to see it sort of illuminates like stars, and you start thinking, oh, these are constellations. You've seen these constellations from nighttime, just being out at night, and you look up and you see the stars, go, oh, I recognize that. And then this red line traces from the flashing one on Buckwin on the planet, traces way off across this representation of the night sky. And then you hear like bing, ding, ding, like you turn on like tube lights, and it goes ding, 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 and the whole room lights up. And there's these lights in the ceiling; they all come on, illuminate the room. Hold on, I wrote myself a note. Okay. What do you want to do about that? Anything or nothing?
I just look the rest of the group, not knowing what to do, and so guys, what do you think? Is this what is this magic? I have never seen that before. What is, you can see all these planets. What is this? Is it a time travel? Is it a
You
what
start
is
to
it?
see on the screen there's what looks like the same words or language as what was on the thing upstairs. Not the pedestal, the capstone and the golem. So from what was told to you before, that's some sort of like ancient dwarvish or goblin language. I don't know if anyone was able to comprehend what it's saying, but just to put it out there, that's what's there.
No, I think we lost our language expert a while ago.
Yeah,
We did.
took a while to translate it.
Okay. Well, the hatch, or where it sort of was clearly a metal structure where you climb down secondly, the ladder retracts and goes up into the ceiling, and then like an iris sort of and closes, and the hatch shuts, sealing you inside. And all the desks now light up, different coloured lights, different pictures on little screens here and there. Everything lights up. And then language starts. You start hearing a weird language, like a guttural sort of, but high-pitched squabbling sound, similar to what the goblins sounded like when they're talking in common, but you can tell it's probably their language. Is there any response to that?
I don't think I know this language.
You don't have to know it.
Sorry, did you say it's coming from a creature or?
No, you just hear a voice, just a voice in this room.
Yeah.
It's like,
Does is there any sort of corresponding new flashing lights on the instrument panel?
oh, everything's lit up now. Everything's just lighting up. Did you say hello, Corbs?
Hello, friend. Yes, hello.
And it sort of stops and goes,
Yes, hello.
and it swaps to the language changes, and it sounds, oh God, don't know how to even describe it. Like, and it sounds more like, if anyone knows Dwarvish, sounds more like Dwarvish.
I don't know Dwarvish. I do speak the 5 languages, but not
No, me.
Dwarvish.
But as you talk more, it sort of seems to be cycling through different languages, and then eventually it settles on distress signal response. Language identified. Rescue vessel nearby. Autopilot engaged. Engines online. And then with that, like the whole room just starts violently shaking. We're going to need some dexterity saves if you're not going to try and sit down or brace yourselves in any way.
Is there a chair nearby?
There's the 2 chairs at the front.
And I'm going to die for a chair.
Mod 20.
Sitting on a chair, like this seatbelt sort of thing just goes over your lap and secures you in place. You had a 20. A mod 20 you said on it, Baina. Yeah, so you're just bracing, holding on to something, anything. How about Keenan?
17.
17, you do the same. You kind of grab for something. I'm going to have for Logan. I think he's probably going to be safe. 15. Let me just get up his character sheet again. Gone. Oh yeah, he's got a mod 20 as well. He grabs hold of something to brace himself. And this whole room just starts like violently shaking, and then you hear rumbling and cracking and breaking, and it starts to become apparent as it's obviously breaking through the ground that what's in front of the seats there is almost like a viewing screen, and you sort of see Earth starting to fall away and the rain running down over, and this whole thing is just sort of turning and shifting, and it's just rumbling and roaring, and again, you'd probably be shitting yourselves like, what the fuck is going on? But not too much, because it's a bit like an airship at this point. You have been in the air, but it sort of turns and it's just sort of looking up at the sky and you start getting forced back into wherever you are. You're sort of really getting pushed back as it's taking off and going up. And you're through the clouds and it's not raining anymore. It's just blue sky, but then it just goes up and up and up until the blue gives way to black. And you see stars. And as you start to see stars and it just seems to keep going and going and going, you start to notice yourselves almost like starting to get weightless and float. Apart from Volta, who has secured himself in the seat. And the voice comes back on and it just says, FTL drive engaged in 3, 2, 1. And it's just, you are just fucking gone. And it's like Star Wars or Star Trek, you see like the stars whizzing past the screen.
Shit.
Holy shit. To infinity and beyond.
What just happened?
This is substantially faster than the airship.
It is substantially faster than the airship. Yeah. You're in space.
Oh god.
And for people watching or listening, the Astral Sea is described in D&D lore as being like a 2-dimensional plane, but has pathways to different worlds or different planes itself. It's great if you're playing a regular D&D game, but because it's homebrew, I kind of like to imagine it more. So talking about influences, I'm really like Star Trek, Star Wars sort of stuff. So this is more like space as we know it, and there are planets and other things like that. So it's quite nerdy and quite cool. But yeah, you're whizzing along. Is there anything you want to do at this point? Or
I
don't
scream.
know.
The whole
screaming.
process of that, I'm just like, this is what I'm doing. If somebody wants to calm me down, this is what I'm doing.
Like the feeling of all that inertia. Now you're in space. You don't actually have that sort of feeling like you're being forced into the seat or anything like that. It's just it feels normal now, just like normal movement on a vessel of some description. But it's very much doing all the work for you. It said autopilot and all that sort of stuff.
Hello. invisible voice. Where are you going to at this point in time?
Hello, I am the computer. We are heading to the nearest rescue vessel. A vessel responded to my beacon in the past 30 days. I think it was about 30 days when she was there, fanning about with it.
You see,
Oh.
a vessel responded to your beacon.
I issued a distress beacon. This vessel crashed onto your world many centuries ago. The owner had never returned. You are the first, well, you are one of the first to have set foot aboard.
Are we going to be able to go back?
You are able to return to your point of origin. For now, autopilot functions are engaged, and we are heading towards the rescue vessel.
And the rescue vessel is in communication with you?
Would you like to open a channel? Would you like to attempt to hail the rescue vessel?
What do you think, guys? And gals?
I suppose. I'm going to roll a con save just to see how I'm handling this because I really don't know. 15. Okay. All right. I'm doing all right.
I mean, you can all give a con save if you want to see how you handled the takeoff, because I mean that's going to have been pretty stressful.
I was sat down, I was quite comfortable.
You were quite comfortable. I think Logan has lost the contents of his stomach.
8 for me.
An 8.
I got a 14, but I was sat down. So I'm okay.
No, Logan's all right, actually. He held on to the contents of his stomach. With an 8, no, you're kind of like feeling a bit queasy and probably eventually.
Yeah.
Last night's soup, not last night's soup, in fact, it was a few days' worth of soup. Yeah, probably wouldn't be coming back to haunt you. It'd be something else. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, you can attempt to make contact with the unknown vessel.
I don't think we have any other choice because if we don't make contact with them, do any one of you know how to drive this ship back to where we came from?
I'm guessing
Logan.
a command could be issued to return back to the point of origin if we really wanted to, but this is a chance to maybe learn a little about the ship, the technology. I think the gnome called it when we spoke to her. That may act as some kind of uber weapon to tip the balance in our favor when we go to Atlantis. Imagine being able to descend from the skies with the flashing of lights and the blaring of the engines. I think that would be quite intimidating even for a demon horde.
If you say that you've been here before, did you say that you removed the statue that it was on top of it? So if we go and to the rescue ship, they will ask us where is the owner of the ship. Do you have any idea what happened to him so we can let them know at least?
Ship crashed so many years ago. The owner was long dead by the time we came along.
I know it's just it's maybe better to be prepared because we're going to a rescue ship in probably creatures in a race that we don't know who they are if they so
We don't
maybe
want them to think that we.
exactly stole the ship or
Yeah.
killed him, so it's good to have a story to tell them.
We have the knowledge of the gnomes that we have spoken to at the other ship. Indeed, Kin, your body will show the marks of the work they did with you. I would imagine that you are the living testament of our good relations with the gnomes in our own environment. The very fact of your existence speaks for us more loudly than any other piece of evidence could.
That's true. That's true. I guess I see no harm in approaching.
Yeah, I agree to approach. I don't see any other solution here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if we could even pilot this thing back home if we wanted to.
Even if we try, we don't know how long it will take us to learn how to pilot it and where we're going to end up.
Computer, if we ordered you to return to our origin, would you be able to do that?
I could return you to your point of origin, however, we must first make contact with the rescue vessel. If we do not go to the rescue vessel, it will assume that something bad has happened and will come to investigate.
Then maybe we should open communications with it. What do you think?
Opening communication channel to rescue vessel. Hailing attempt 1. No, it doesn't make sense.
Oh my god, it's a 56k modem.
I was thinking more like the dial tone for Discord, but eventually you hear a voice.
You'll never know the pain of dial-up broadband.
I know the pain of dial-up
Dial-up
broadband.
internet.
I remember that. You know. Anyway, you hear a voice come over. Hello, this is the vessel Craft. I believe we're talking to the Star Runner. Is that correct? We weren't expecting to hear anything from you. Hello?
Hello, we have recovered the Star Runner from its place and seek to return it to you to learn more of your ways.
Okay, it's been gone for a long time. A few generations ago it disappeared and it's just been considered missing for a long, long time. Centuries, in fact. So the fact that you've recovered it, I mean, this is great for us. This is great for us to see how things were done in the past. With whom am I speaking? Please, I am the captain of our ship. Who are you?
We are the discoverers of your Star Runner. Volta is my name. I am delighted to speak with you. Doubtless, at some point, your ship will bring us to where we can meet and speak in person.
Yes, my name is Captain Keswick. We estimate you're gonna come up to you're on your way. It shouldn't take you too long to get here. Not the speed you're going.
Is it fast?
Oh yeah, it's real fast. It's you're using what's called a faster than light drive, which means you're really gunning it.
Oh, good. That is good. It is always nice to travel at speed.
What we haven't really established is what are your intentions here? We're kind of like explorers. We're hoping that you're friendly.
Yes, we are always friendly, very affable. We have many stories to share with you. Maybe we could get to know everybody. No, you could learn about our world. You could tell us a little bit about yours. It'd be very nice.
Okay. I'm guessing you're not part of the Empire then. You don't sound like you're very well traveled.
Very well traveled in the broader terms, but within our own region, we traveled quite a bit.
Okay, well, we look forward to meeting with you. We'll see you soon.
Very well. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. And then the communication goes down. It just goes. Bloop.
We're in a bit over our heads here.
Yes. I think I need to sit down. I sit down in one of the chairs.
Yeah.
It's really amazing what's happening right now. We are literally out like on the sky. I didn't even know that this is possible.
You hear if are you going to have any more conversation, or do you want to? Are you finished with that?
I don't know what more there is to say. We're whizzing along on the crest of the invisible waves, and Logan hasn't blown us up yet, so every cloud
Well,
has a silver lining. It's very nice that he hasn't touched anything yet.
as you finish your conversations, the computer says FTL drive disengaged in 3, 2, 1, and everything just goes. And you seem to come right down to almost like a stop. And just out in front of you is this great big ship. I suppose it looks somewhat similar to a Klingon bird of prey, I suppose would be the best way of describing it. No, I don't have an image for it just yet. But I think that's probably a good place to leave it.
That's a reassuring place to leave the episode, isn't it?
Hmm.
Kaplag! This time, many moons die.
Sat right next to a great big unknown alien ship in space.
Fine, it's fine, it's
Oh
fine. We
my
got
God.
Logan to do the diplomacy.
Do you know what? I've had this prepared for such a long time, and I really didn't think you were ever going to do it, because you sort of like investigated the bit with the golem, and it was like, oh well, we don't know what that is, and then just buggered off, and I was like, oh, they're never going back there again.
I must admit, I didn't think that going to recover a bit of artifacty tech might lead us to a journey quite so far away.
Galaxy far, far away. No, it's actually in your galaxy, so that.
So by the time we get back, is everything's sorted.
Everything's sorted.
Grift has died of old age, and his sword has rusted away in his hand.
We can
No, I
actually
don't think,
recruit them. We
I'm
can
not
recruit
doing
them to
time
come with
dilations.
us.
Let's just do. That's okay. Talk among yourselves.
So I was a little bit worried about time dilation, but with it being faster than light, I thought, well, you know, it's going to be a bit dodgy. It's going to be a bit dodgy.
Yeah,
Going to come back
It-
and meet ourselves as our own ants or something. Yeah.
it will be really interesting to see how it will be. But we can always get it as an advantage to us if they are able to help us, and maybe we can recruit an army from them and go back to where we left it, and then we have more allies.
Well, maybe. Or just to address the time thing. I don't. I do impose time dilations and stuff with planar travel, but I'm not calling the astral sea planar travel. It's still very much on the material plane. It's just the space between planets, or planes, or whatever you want to call it. But for example, I've sort of always described the planes in this as being above and below. So like the hell planes are below the material plane, in terms of its reality, and the godly planes are higher up and all that sort of stuff. So it's rather than being like a disc where everything's sort of around it, which I think is how they sort of describe it officially. It's more like an onion. Layers of an onion.
It's like...
I've just said to Mr. Brandt he can I can do the sign off when he gives us the nod, ready to end the stream. So we don't really want to just sign off and leave the stream running.
no, that wouldn't be a good idea.
That wouldn't be a good idea, no. But hopefully you've all enjoyed that little session. It's got us away from Castle View finally, because we were there for an awfully long time.
Well, to be fair, it was just the replay of the session several times that made it feel like a very long time.
Yeah.
In actual elapsed game time, it was next to nothing. We were in and out like super speedy. It's just because we had to replay it a couple of times, then recap it.
Oh, I know. But hopefully
Like
this is
Groundhog Day.
it was a good Groundhog Day. Hopefully this is sort of, made things a bit more interesting. And hopefully next
So-
time, now we've done a lot of RP, we can actually roll some dice.
Some
Well,
dice. Very nice.
Hopefully not too much if we're going to be boarding a gigantic war ship in the middle of space. That might be a bad thing to go kicking off fights, just as a note.
Oh, no, I never said it was a warship.
Klingon Bird of Prey, I think, was the...
Yeah.
It looks
that
like a bird
quite
of prey.
war-
Yeah, it looks like a bird of prey. Doesn't mean it is a warship.
You didn't say a Klingon fluffy chicken ship or anything like that, did you? No, it's Klingon Bird of Prey.
It's got you can see fluffy dice hanging in the window.
Oh, that's all right.
How's that make you feel?
Yeah. Kevin and
Made of
Sharon on the
skull.
windscreen.
Yeah.
In lovely transfers.
great,
Bit of vinyl.
big, great big exhaust on the back.
Kevin Shazza.
Just tin cans
tin
behind
cans.
us. It's just married.
Do you know, I'm going to be really annoyed if Steve turns around and says, I didn't record this one. There we go.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
Oh, just like the Enterprise, a research vessel with photon torpedo. Again, I never said it was a research vessel. Never said it had photon torpedo. These could be like the most passive ships ever conceived, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Somehow I doubt it.
Oh, you'll have to wait and see. You're just going to have to wait.
The way you're smiling, it's very worrying to us.
Hang on, let me see. This could be Steve. No, it is Steve, but not the Steve we want.
Ooh. It is me giving him yet another prod.
To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd fallen asleep.
Yeah, probably.
Because he is very poorly.
Yeah.
Do either of you with the mod view not have the option to end the stream?
It's buffering for me.
Oh, he's